Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our Coach's Corner episode this month. I've got a very good friend of mine, Matt Wagner with Client Focus, and some of you guys might be saying, why the heck are you bringing Client Focus into this deal? And the reason why is because I have an enormous amount of respect for Matt and what his organization does. I've been using them for over a year. You guys know I'm very, very passionate about ROI and making sure that we are profitable in agency. These guys have helped me do that. I'm a believer in them. You know that I am very, very apprehensive about putting my name on any third-party vendor until it is tried and tested. And I've been using these guys long enough now to tell you that I fully support what they do. I think it is a great program, especially for agents that struggle with getting appointments, just like I do. It is just something that we've struggled with. And I have found that my time, effort, and money is better spent in other avenues, like focusing on growth instead of trying to get my own team to do this. These guys are the professionals at it. And I just thought it'd be a great program to share with you guys. So I'd like to introduce Matt Wagner with Client Focus. Matt, tell us what you do at Client Focus.
Oh man. I've been here 3 years, and it's been an amazing 3-year journey for me. We've taken a company that was providing a valuable service as a long-term State Farm partner and just massively upgraded it. We've taken our fulfillment operation and our culture and upgraded it to a new model where instead of just a call center model, it's much more of a virtual team member model where we're being able to provide a much deeper individual focus on each agency and helping them over the long term drive better results. So that's I've been busy doing that and obviously repositioning our go-to-market and our value proposition. So we've been trying to establish ourselves as a strategic solution provider instead of just a tactical service provider. And so I guess the last year, what I've really been busy doing is traveling a lot. I've met with lots and lots of agents and sales leadership, just trying to get in their shoes, get inside their skin, and understand the challenges they have. And man, it's been incredibly enlightening.
You visit with a lot of agents. I know you travel a lot. I've talked to you many times. I can't be the only one that you talk to. So I would have to guess that you've probably got a pretty good pulse on the way things are going out there right now, especially inside our organization. What challenges are you seeing right now kind of across the enterprise?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there is as many stories as there are agents, right? But I think a lot of the challenge is the same as any business in any industry, which is you've got lots and lots of priorities and never enough resources. And so entering 2019, there's this big push for getting as many new customers as possible, doing lots of marketing and such. At the same time, there's also a huge emphasis on how are we going to get in front of all of our customers and deepen those connections and be able to position more of our offerings with them and multi-line and drive retention and so forth. So I think it's a balancing act for sure for any business to try to manage both of those things.
I got to tell you, when I was going through the internship program, they just kept telling us over and over and over again that, finding team members was, going to be the biggest challenge that we would run into and keeping those team members. And I visit with enough agents now to tell you that is 100% true. That is a major, major constraint, and it's a big challenge for us. You talked a little bit about that little balancing act that we do. Is it hard because there's not good people out there, or what is it that makes you think it's hard to balance closing new clients with meeting existing clients? Like, what's the hang up there?
Yeah, honestly, the first reason for that, I think, is kind of a philosophical one. It's a philosophical bridge that some agents cross and drive a lot of success. And that is a lot of agencies, I think, just haven't fully embraced their calling yet. Like, they're so focused on the grind and so focused on cash flowing their business that they haven't really gotten passionate about their agency's impact. And that's ironic because it's that high impact that drives high revenue. So it's like a chicken and an egg thing. And so people get stuck in startup mode. They're still in startup mode on year 5 and 6 and 7, still scrambling for new customers to pay next month's bills. And so, there are a lot of great examples of agents who have overcome that. One that comes to mind is Brian Jackson out in Indiana. Brian is an amazing guy. I don't know if you've heard of Brian or met him, but
I have not met Brian.
Well, his recipe is really simple. He loves his people. He loves the people that he serves. Now, I've met him a couple of times, and I've been able to talk shop with him some, enough to know that he runs a very tight ship, right? He's an effective business owner, runs a tight ship. He's got great processes in place. He's got a very robust strategy that his business is mapped out to over the long term. But when he gets up in the morning, he's thinking about, how am I going to go out and serve and love my people? And he's obsessed with making sure that something doesn't happen to one of his people just because he didn't do his job, right? And so he's got tons of great stories about lives he has stories about lives that would have been ruined, completely devastated, except that he took the time and the accountability to prepare them ahead of time so that they could weather the storm and come out on top. So I love those agencies. They're a great example of what happens when you really embrace your calling as an agent.
One of the most rewarding things I hear is when, I don't know what her specific job title is, but when my client focus representative calls my existing customers and she calls me afterwards and tells me that they love me. She's like, I don't know what it is, but your customers, they just love you and they have nothing but good things to say about you. That really is very fulfilling, very rewarding. And because, they're not typically going to say that to me, they're not going to tell me that I do a great job. They love me so much, but it's really cool that they tell her that. And she really does do a great job of, number one, getting that back to me, but, feeling like she's a part of my culture, a part of my team, a part of my office. These people have no idea that she's, in a faraway land and, in the desert in Arizona. She really fits in very well with that. That's something that has really been cool for me. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper.
I'm going to give Angie a shout out because she deserves it. And she does. She's great. She's one of a lot of people who are really great. But yeah, she's a winner. I can't tell you how many agents have tried to hire her away from me.
I told you that I'm going to steal.
Stop it.
I was like, she will be mine. But one thing you've told me is you've got lots of Angies, and I would have to believe that's true. I've had the same representative since I started with Client Focus. So Angie has been with me for over a year, which I think is pretty cool. So we know when she calls, we know who it is. I'm a one team member agency right now. It's me and one team member. So, Angie, man, she's a part of my office family. And if she ever leaves, it will be upsetting. I'll tell you that. But
that's definitely the business model that we've been moving to. When I say, the virtual team member model, that's the whole point of where we tried to go. And I think the results speak for themselves. The agents we're working with are committed to, long-term success in the program, and they're having great experiences with their customers. And that's what we want to produce.
Yeah. Well, you gave her name away, but don't give her last name away. And I've already told other agents, you can't have her. She's full. She's got too many people. So you're not getting Angie.
High demand. It's true.
Yeah. So Matt, I want to dig a little bit deeper here. I think we scratched the surface a little bit. What other challenges are you hearing about out there?
Well, I think one big one, and this is everybody. This isn't just insurance agents. This is companies across the fruited plain. We've just forgotten what marketing is. Over the past few years, we've come up with some great tools for automating lead generation and prospecting and helping us zero in on ideal customers and such. And they're powerful tools, but we've gotten to the point where we completely depend on them. And so that we have these funnels. You've got your mailer funnel, and you've got your digital marketing funnel, and you've got your internet lead funnel, and so forth. And we put budget dollars in the top and crank the handle, and some prospects fall out the bottom, and that's marketing these days. And what that should be is a tool in our marketing arsenal. But I think because we've become so dependent on that, we've stopped being creative about maximizing our profit, which is what the whole point should be, right? Getting the exposure out there to help maximize our ability to have impact and be profitable as a result.
You know, one of the cool things, I want to make sure I mention this because everybody knows I'm an ROI Nazi. Inside the client focus tool, every time you have an appointment, you go back in and you actually plug in the results of that appointment.
Yeah.
I love seeing that because it tracks my ROI. It tells me exactly how much money I have got back on that investment with client focus. So that is another really cool thing that I like about it. I can't do that with, you know, an internet lead company or, you know, something else like that. It's a little bit more difficult to track. You mentioned that, you know, we're leaving opportunity out there. Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that. How so?
Yeah, we're definitely leaving tons of opportunity on the table with new clients and with existing clients. So let me give you an example. So let's just take internet leads as an example, because I think most agents work with or have worked with internet leads. And so let's say that this month for my agency, I'm going to go out and buy 100 internet leads, okay? And $10 a piece, reasonable average number for average quality leads. And then I'm going to pay somebody I'm going to factor in $500 of labor overhead for somebody to prospect those leads over the course of the month. So $1,000 worth of leads, $500 worth of labor, $1,500 for the month. Okay. Well, now let's say that I convert 5% of those. Then I can very quickly figure out how profitable am I. I look at my lifetime commission on each of the sales. I do this as an average over, you know, lots and lots of transactions and say, okay, tends to be PNC. It's a new auto policy, new homeowners policy. And it's on average that lasts me this long and bills me this much commission over the lifetime of the policy. We'll call it $350. Some agents may say it's a little different. I would say plug your numbers in and do your own math and come up with numbers that make sense for you. But if we say $350, okay, that's my average commission. Now what's my average cost? Well, that's the $1,500 I spent this month divided by, if I have a 5% conversion ratio, then I divide that by my 5 new customers. My acquisition cost on average is $300. So I made $350, I spent $300. That means my profit is $50 a piece times 5 conversions. That means on this activity that I spent $1,500 on this month, I made $250 and I got 5 new customers. Okay, not bad, right? But what happens if I want to explain what happens if you balance that marketing strategically between new customer acquisition and existing customer engagement. Because if I take that same $1,500 and I spend $1,000 on internet leads and divert 500 of it to customer engagement. So what that would look like if you're using client focus, that would be us calling out for $500, we'd be calling about 100 of your clients, trying to get them into your office to schedule, right? So $1,000 on internet leads, that just reduced me from 100 leads to 66 leads. And if you just do the same math all the way down, I end up with about 3.3 conversions, and I end up with the bottom line of $165. Now, what happens with the $500 that I put into working with client focus to get in front of my customers? Well, first of all, your yield is going to be higher. You're going to tend to, let's say that it just performs okay. So 20% appointment rate, maybe a 75% show up rate, and you close new business half of the time. That's 7.5 conversions on 100 clients. So the conversion is a little higher. The commission is going to be higher because you're going to be more likely to sell life insurance or financial services. So let's say, some agents say they make a lot more money on that, but let's just give it a small bump and say instead of $350, we go to $400. Okay, and so then you've got the cost, right, is fantastically lower. So you have a higher yield, 7.5%. You've got 7.5 conversions. You've got a higher commission, $400, and now your bottom line cost is fantastically lower because you already bought these leads a long time ago. You didn't have to buy leads this time, right? So you're dividing your $500 expense by 7.5 conversions, and it's like 60 or 70 bucks. And so again, if you follow the math to the bottom, you end up with about a 10x gain in profitability. You get about $2,500 on the bottom line on that. I've got a video on our YouTube channel, by the way, that goes into a lot of detail on this. But you end up with about $2,500, whereas before you were going to make $250. Now, that's not walking around money. This is where the smart part comes in, right? Because now you're going to take that $2,500, reinvest it back into more internet leads, and now for the same original $1,500 investment, instead of 100 leads, you've now prospected more like 220, and in the process, you've got a hold of a significant number of your clients, reconnected with them, drove new business, built a better future pipeline, probably got more referral business. So like everything works out better as a result. And why does that work? It's because you have value that is captive in your book that's just waiting to be liberated. And when you liberate that value, which is, by the way, is stored in customer trust, right? When you liberate that value, it does amazing things for your business. Not to mention, you're going to end up with much better success stories and solutions that you've provided for customers that you can then turn around, and using something like the social media playbook, you can put those solutions out there where other people can see them and be interested in them. And now you're driving more zero cost new customer acquisition, right? So it's just being creative and strategic about the way that you balance those marketing dollars, I think is really the key to being a lot more successful this year.
I agree. As a new agent, honestly, my first year and a half, really, I was so focused on just getting more new business instead of, focusing on the business opportunities that I had, within my existing book. I think I left a lot of money on the table. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And for an agent who is starting traditional, taking over an existing book of business, to me, if I were going that route, this is, with a little bit of experience under my belt now, 100% where I would have and should have been focusing my agent, or my marketing dollars in my agency. So I think it takes a little bit of a mind shift to get there because we're so focused on growth. We don't realize how much opportunity we have right under our nose. I think that agents need to change the way they think. You probably talk to as many or more agents than I do. Do you think agents can change the way they think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this isn't an insurance agency question. This is all small businesses at some point need to move from startup mode, or what we usually call new customer acquisition mode, to sustainable growth mode. That's if the goal is, if you're here now and you want to get to here, the question is, how do you get there as quickly as possible? And the answer is, you've got to start thinking about all aspects of your business. You can't just be thinking about new customer acquisition. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, agents can think at that level. I mean, they can do the math. They do other people's math all day, every day. But I think a lot of them have gotten entrenched in this kind of limited marketing approach where they're not necessarily evaluating their profitability on a month-by-month basis. And so that's a huge difference, right? Between if you want to grow, you can't just keep cash flowing your business. And that's a difference between a self-employed person, which is an employee without a boss, and an entrepreneur, which is somebody who's growing a business with long-term strategic goals. I mean, it's really, I think it's just about that simple.
So if I'm picking up what you're putting down, I think it just means you're being a little bit smarter with your marketing spend and where you're putting your money.
You're doing it on purpose, right? Instead of,
being a little bit more intentional, with our marketing budget, I think, and trying to produce the best result that you can get, right? So just a small example, I talked to an agent recently that is spending about $2,200 a month between two big brand marketing agencies. Most of my colleagues are going to know who I'm talking about. But I looked at his analytics, and he asked me to, and we found out that he, out of that marketing spend, that $2,200, that made his phone ring. He got 25 phone calls. So he had 25 clicks on his ads that generated those phone calls. And he's got about a 10% new business conversion rate. So he closed 2.5. We can just round up to 3. He closed 3 of those phone calls, but we don't even know that for sure because not doing a good job of tracking that business. But those cost him about $700 each. And once he realized that, he was, he canceled that service. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody do that. But if I understand what you're saying is that we should probably have a better understanding of our ROI on our marketing spend. This is a great resource, I think, for agents that are like me, that are, suffering with people constraints. My representative from Client Focus, she is a part of my office. People do not know that she is calling from Arizona. She fits the culture so well in my office. And the reason she does that is because we've gone over in detail what the culture of my office is. When she calls and sets up appointments, the conversation that she has with them is one that I've helped her kind of design within the constraints and restrictions that we have of being compliant and doing the right things that State Farm requires us to do. But we've been able to kind of tailor that conversation to the culture of my business, and I think that's really gone a long way. So she's definitely become a part of my agency. Matt, I want to thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm a big believer in Client Focus. I've been using you guys for over a year now, had some great results. Even in my months that I slow down, I haven't shut the service off. I switch it over. You guys have a couple options for agents. My book isn't a huge book of business. I'm still growing, so sometimes I run out of households to give you. So there are other options that agents can do. I would highly recommend to my colleagues that they explore those other options. It is, in my opinion, this is a great resource for those of us that, have affordability options with hiring another full-time person just to do this. This is all Client Focus does. So, they're the best at it because they do this all day long. So they know what works instead of us trying to do these different things. This is a great resource for us. Matt, how do we get a hold of you if we want to know more?
Yeah, sure. Obviously we've got a Facebook page, we've got a YouTube channel. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. But I think the easiest thing to do, if you want to find out, like, how does this work? A lot of agents have contemplated this, but there are so many question marks, and it feels complicated and like it's a new process I got to set up. We've figured out how to make that easy. So what you want to do is go to our website, click on the blue button that says schedule a strategy call, and you'll see Brittany Kohler's schedule there. You drop something on her schedule, and she's going to have a one-on-one call with you where she's going to answer all of the sort of easy, like there are a lot of questions that hold agents back that are actually they're really easy answers to them, right? So she'll answer all those questions. She'll show you, given your specific goals and objectives for the year and where you are in your progress toward those goals, what it will take to get you there by engaging with your existing book. She'll show you how we can customize what we're doing to meet your specific office needs, and like you said, your culture and your geography and like all these variables that come into play. And then she'll just greatly empower you to be able to make a decision. And if you decide to work with us, great. We'll assign a virtual team member to you, and you can build that relationship and get after it. But if not, that's also okay. The call is still worth your while. It's really, really valuable. I have agents call me and say, hey, I just got off the phone with Brittany, and wow, that's what I've been trying to teach my team how to do. That's what a simple conversation should look like, right? It's that powerful. So yeah, clientfocuscorp.com, click on the blue button, drop something on her calendar. And I think that's a great next step in figuring out how should you approach having a review appointment program for your business, driving more simple conversations and so forth.
Awesome. Matt, I appreciate you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thanks for dropping in and sharing some insights. I've had some great experiences with you guys. Absolutely zero complaints. And I'll tell you, over the past year, a little more than a year, been a great experience that I've had. And I would definitely recommend Client Focus to any agent who struggles with getting appointments set up. You guys don't have to drop my name. I don't make any money for doing this. I purely do these little coaching calls because I want to help you guys out and, help you guys grow your businesses. Thanks, Matt, and we will see you guys soon.
Hey, thanks a lot, Josh. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
You bet.